new year and a new episode of Pinal's People. Our guest today is a longtime business owner in the Castro area, Dallas Giddens. Dallas has also been well known in the community for his dedication to giving back. He retired from his business, Giddens Tire Pros, at the end of 2025.
Right.
Dallas, thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, it's my pleasure to be here. So.
Yeah, we're happy to have you on. So to get started, I know I gave a brief introduction of you, but for people who might not be familiar with you and your story, could you share a bit about your background?
Well, I started in this business actually when I was just in college in Amarillo, Texas. I had a good friend. Actually, I was going to school working part-time with a construction work, and I had a friend whose dad owned a tire store in Amarillo, Texas called Fairgrounds Tire, and he passed away. And so I stopped and visited my friend on every day. I didn't work construction while I was in school. And finally, a new manager said, if you're going to come by here, either come to work for me or quit coming by. I said, oh, really? How much does it pay? I was 20 probably then, so 19 or 20. And so that's where I started. I didn't know how to do anything in this business. I was an only son. My dad had passed away when I was 12, so I had 3 sisters and my mom. And I got to watch how people treated women when I was young. And so I got into this business and I learned, I didn't even know how to use 10 key to alpha calculator, I guess you might call it today. I didn't know anything, but I didn't even know how to turn an impact on forward or reversed. So I was so green in this business. So I learned from the bottom up. And that was 52 years ago. So it must have been when I was 20. But anyway, I went from there and I decided I didn't want to bust my butt all the time, changing tires, stuff like that. So I said, what can I learn to do? So I learned the back end of the business. I learned sales. And if you knew my background, I wasn't a very good outward going person when I was in high school, and I was kind of a recluse. And I had a good friend that we were scouting, and he would when scouting, in summer we'd paint curb numbers for people, and we didn't do half jobs. We used concrete paint. It lasted. In fact, I was in Amarillo here several years ago. Some of those were still there.
Oh my gosh.
So, but he did the sales, I did the labor.
Mm-hmm.
Now, fast forward now, he does labor, I do all the talking. And so it's something that came out in my life. So, and I got married in 1974 to my wife Deborah at that time. And we have a son named Brandon. And we moved from Amarillo, Texas. And my first store was in Plainview, Texas. I was 26 years old. And I'm thinking to myself, would I hire a 26-year-old to run a store today? Boy, were they bold. And I found out the way you do managers in stores and stuff like that, it's like a newborn parent. One day you are. And because there's no training for management, there's hardly at all. They say it in college and all, but really the hardcore getting in there. But anyway, let's just go forward a little further. So I finally I went to work I got moved here in 1989. I worked for a company called Truck Stops of America. It was owned by British Petroleum. I ran their shop, and I was out in Eloy. And so I stayed there a year, and we moved to Casa Grande because, to be honest with you, it had a McDonald's in it. And my wife required a McDonald's to be in there. So we spent several years there, and then in 1992, I was hired by a company called Charlie Case Tire. And they started the store. Actually, it's right behind Wells Fargo Bank. It used to be a Big O. Today it's a break place, but that's where we started. And in 1995, we built the building that we're in right now under Charlie Case Tire. It's called American Car Care Center. And I've been there since 1992. I was the face, and so I was finally told, say, hey, run it like it's yours. And so I did, and they sold in 2001 to a company called Impact Tire, and that's when Tire Pros came on board. Mm-hmm. So 2001, I worked for them for a couple of years, and finally it was a big corporation, and they were not very good. But I still persevered. And my wife and I decided we needed to buy the store. So I gave them an alternative. I said, sell it to me. And they said, okay. And then they came up and gave me a month to get the funds together.
Oh, wow.
Didn't give me much time. They didn't really want to sell it. So years later, I was ready. I came to them and said, I want to buy the store. And they said, well, no, we don't want to sell it. I said, well, let me give you my notice then. I said, I'm just not tired of working for somebody else. And y'all aren't doing what I want to do. You're trying to restrict it. And so a month later, they came back, okay, you can have it. And so, being I didn't have a whole lot of money, I said, well, okay, I'll buy it. It's going to be how much you want for it. They had no P&L, so they had no idea what it was worth. So they basically told me a number, and I said, okay, and you're going to finance it. And they did. So here I became an entrepreneur. And my wife and I, we struggled. You know, I was real fortunate with Charlie Case Tire. I was a shareholder, and when they sold, they gave me a step in. And first time in my life I'd been financially independent, so it's really nice. But we started the business, and I already had it running because it was already my business from 1992. I'd been there, so we just kept running, and it's grown since then. And then my wife passed away in 2018, and so left a void there. But fortunately, I had the store as really they were my counselors, because I went to work every day, you know, morning and stuff like that. 43 years is a long time to have your best friend pass away.
Yeah.
And I had my son there, so, and then during that period of time, he got married. I have a grandson now, thank heavens. I have another one on the way, as a matter of fact.
Gosh,
So Mark, for hoping for the best. So, but getting back to what I was talking about with my sisters and my mother, I watched how people treated women in the 60s and 70s and 80s. And I swore to myself, ever in a position that I could take care of people like that, especially women, I would do that. And so I based everything I did in my business, I based on how I can treat women right. And in fact, I get offended. But I have women come in all the time saying, I'm just a stupid woman. I've never met a stupid woman. Believe me, I never have. And I'd sit there and say, no, you don't understand. You're just not informed. So our idea was to train first. It wasn't about the money. It was about the relationship. And I think we grew from that. And that's the kind of what I taught all my people, is that you treat everybody with respect. How would you like to be treated? And we want customers for life. We just don't want a customer for a day. Mm-hmm. And so we grew and grew and grew. And during COVID, actually when I bought the store, 2 years later, we had our bad recession in 2008, 2009. And I was fortunate. I had all my bills paid for. Mm-hmm. I had no debt. And so during COVID, during that period of time, I was able to grow and not worry about business because we didn't have debt. We had to fund on that. So then we flourished. We kind of floundered at a certain amount of dollars, and about $1.5 million a year, which is pretty good for a small business. But we just stayed there, and then COVID came along.
Oh, yeah.
And we had to rethink what we did. We were considered an essential business, so we stayed open. The only difference between us and other places around town is we just said, hey, we're going to run business like normal. We didn't mask up. We didn't put stuff in there. We washed our hands. My guys didn't get sick because we washed our hands before and after every car. And we find out hygiene's 90% of what COVID was all about. And so my business went up 40% that year, 40%. So that's a big increase, 40%. But you know, that's all about business. Let's talk about the community.
Yeah. Well, actually, you know what? I have so many questions for you. So kind of one of the things I would love to ask you about is, because it's obvious that you're so passionate about the work you did for years and years and years, and about the store. And I loved your story about your connection to your wife and your mother and your sisters. So for you, you know, because obviously, you know, we mentioned you're retiring.
Right.
By the time this video will have come
I'll be retired on the 31st.
Yeah, you would have been already retired. So for you, you know, what has been one of your favorite things about owning a small business? Because it's somewhat of a dying breed nowadays, correct?
Absolutely, it takes a certain breed of people to run their own business
Mm-hmm.
because it's thankless, and I look personally. I'm kind of selfish. Um, I like people to smile. I like people to say thank you for a good job. I like to tell my employees thank you for doing a good job, and I like to reward them. And uh, it's gosh, it's hard to say. What I like most about it is the people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's the one thing I'm going to miss more than anything. The relationships I had with the people. I can actually, when I first started in Cascade, became uh, I don't know how many people know. I joined the Rotary Club. Now I'd been in the Lions Club. I've been in the Kiwanis Club. I'd never been in the Rotary Club. And a man named Cecil Kinzer, which y'all would know is from Alan Riley's. He came into my store one day, invited me to go to the Rotary Club. And I said, "What is the Rotary?" And he was like, "What?" You know? He says, "You don't know?" I said, "No, I don't know what the Rotary is." So they invited me. And U.R. Neely was his partner. And and U.R. was great, you know. Unfortunately, he's passed away. And so I went to the club, and that's where I met Donovan. He's the editor of the paper. I mean, you know, hey, met him there and met a lot of people, and I got to sit at what they called the Cash Grand South, and there was some icons in this community. I found out later that sat at that table, and it was an expensive table to sit at because they always violated the rules, so, and everybody on the table got fined. But you know, I learned a lot about these people, and I went to, the reason I joined clubs like that is to serve, not to be in charge, not to do this. I like the service end of it. The Rotary, you know, service above self, and I think that's a wonderful thing to have. And I always wanted the community to grow, because this is my community. I used to be the first store in town as you came off the highway, first tire store, and I had a good relationship with the Department of Public Safety, and they would send people into my store because they trusted me. I did work for them, but they trusted me. And I wanted to represent our company and our city and our county. And I had people coming in that if I didn't have anything, I was not the type that said, go down the road, go see something. I'd pick up the phone and call. Because nothing's worse, because I've been there, and you probably have too, where you've been in a strange community needing some help and you don't know where to go. And so I'd pick up the phone and call the Goodyear dealership or Ed Whitehead down the street or the Big O or any of those and say, "Do you have this tire?" And if they had it, instead of saying, "Oh, I'll go get it and put it," I'd send it to them, because isn't this what a community is all about, is to help each other.
Yeah.
You know, it's not, if you're selfless instead of selfish, it makes you grow. And I grew up in the Texas Panhandle where everybody's friendly, so I expect everybody to be friendly. So,
Yeah.
And sometimes the reality isn't that way. And so that was the start of what I found in my community. The Rotary Club taught me a lot about the community. They had their auction every year, did a wonderful thing, scholarships. And that always hit home to me, because the kids in the community are the ones that need to come back to our community. And so we had the scholarships, and they've done over $1 million for a small club in this community in scholarships. I mean, imagine that, over $1 million. And we only had 40 people in the club at that time. 40 people and $1 million. That community was so generous. And so I wanted to give back. And so in the more recent years, I was able financially to help. I'm selfish in that I want kids to come back, but I also want them to work in my industry. Yeah. My industry, which is the automotive industry, is short millions of people. And we talk about unemployment, we talk about college. So kids can go to school today and learn to be an auto mechanic, a diesel mechanic, an HVAC, a plumber, all those. Go to trade schools, get out, for a fraction of what a 4-year or 6-year college degree costs and come out making 6-figure incomes.
Yeah.
And a lot better than most of the teachers that teach them. And that's a shame too. Teachers are so underpaid, and they're shaping our future. And so I chose the automotive shop here in Casa Grande. The FFA. I like the 4-H, the Girl Scouts. In fact, a lot of you if you've been around me for many years, I used to buy 400 or 500 boxes of Girl Scout cookies to hand out every year.
Oh my goodness.
and that gets to be pretty expensive. But the troop that took care of me, the family had so many children, and if I stayed there, I'd probably have another 10 years worth of buying Girl Scout cookies from these people. So, but it was a great promo, and it's helped our community. And these young girls are, they're the future. And in fact, in the automotive shop, I went and gave a talk one day at an automotive shop, and these guys and girls or young women, I don't know it, but anyway, these children at that time were in there, and the only ones who really paid attention were the young girls. And so these guys were horse playing and stuff, and I stopped them and I said, hey, look, guys, you need to understand, these girls right here are going to be your bosses in the future. And they go, what do you mean? I said, they're listening and paying attention. They're going to start businesses, and you're going to come to them for work. So would you rather be on the work end of it or the own end of it? Well, in some cases, people want to just be workers, which is great. But an owner, there's so much you can do in the future. So, but getting back to the community, the FFA, I used to hand out tires to sell at the FFA at their little deal, so they had their stake. And then I'd give them out cash. The problem with a lot of these people, they don't understand that businesses give this stuff to help the community, and the people that buy it, like you get a ticket for $15 and you win an $800 set of tires, and then you come to the merchant and say, oh, can I trade this? I really don't need it. Hold it. I used to give tires away so that you could maybe donate them back to the FFA, so they put them on their trailers or stuff like that. Think about it. That was a gift.
Yeah.
And so many people just look at, oh, I need this for me today, instead of, why am I really here? And I was really here because I wanted to help the community and help those kids. And so that's really the basic thing I think most small businesses do. You don't go to the big box stores. You don't go and ask them for that, because they'll say, oh, we got to get to corporate to do this. You always go to the little small business that is contributing. And if you look at the percentage given by a small business versus a big box store, they give percentage of their business a lot more. And they employ so many more people. Most of the people are, and they pay pretty well usually. So anyway, any other question?
Yeah, no, I know there's so many more, but so could you share with me a little bit about what motivates you to give back as much as you have to high school students?
Well, actually, I'm kind of selfish. It is a selfishness, because I wanted to be able to groom to work for me in my industry.
Yeah.
I gave a point of sale with the help of my Rob Ginsburg, which was my point of sale. It's called Simply Genius now. But I got with him and said, when I talked to Christian, the teacher at the high school that was shopping, he was telling me, he said, we have no way to keep records of what we do for people in the school. And that put a thought in my mind, because we just given them 2 scanners that we use in our store to scan cars to find out what's wrong with it, with the interfaces with the computers on the car. I got with Napa, Merles, and Napa, and they gave one and I gave one. And so they could have the same equipment I use every day to make diagnosis. So if they use old antiquated equipment and come in to the workplace, all of a sudden I would never use that.
Yeah.
And so the further I thought about it, when Christian asked me about that, I thought, well, we need service writers too, people that know how to write up tickets and ask the right questions. So why not give them a point of sale, so that they know how to type stuff in, how to put the VIN numbers, phone numbers, the names, get everything you need to do to keep that customer. So the selfishness was, maybe I can bring them to come to work for me.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
if not, they can come into our industry. Because we mentioned earlier, we're millions of people short in our industry, not only in technicians, but in salespeople, in people that just understand the backside of the business even. It takes that little, so my motivation was a selfish need.
Yeah.
And maybe I can just start in my little area, maybe it can expand to other places all throughout the United States where they hear a little bit about this. Well, we can do that. Why can't we do that? Sort of like doing the Girl Scout cookies. Start that here. But the way I look at the Girl Scout cookies and what motivated me on that was, where does sales start? And where is we used to say, buy local. But how local is a Girl Scout?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, mom and dads live here, they live here, they go to school. So why not start there? And because they're local, they're sales. And I wanted to encourage all the businesses in town to buy from them because there for a while, the Girl Scouts couldn't go door to door.
Yeah.
And now they sit in front of a grocery store, a big box store, trying to sell your cookies and all. Well, the young ladies that I sell to, they come to me in December and January and say, how many cookies you want to buy?
Mm-hmm.
And I just pre-order.
Yeah.
And so my idea was to get businesses to so you spend $100 on cookies. I'm not going to eat. I haven't had a Girl Scout cookie myself in over 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
But I wanted to, I really wanted to encourage businesses as a whole. It didn't matter how, buy 10 boxes of cookies, buy 100 boxes of cookies, but help that young lady come up to you and look you in the eye and say, hey, I'm so-and-so, and I'm with Girl Scout troop, whatever I'm in, and we're selling Girl Scout cookies.
Mm-hmm.
And we'd wonder if you'd be interested in buying Girl Scout cookies. And this is a new concept. Why don't you buy them to hand them out as a gift to your customers?
Yeah.
And and the bright light came on. The bright light came on that to get back that way. My wife and I had stopped at Old Foxworth. They had one on the corner. I guess that's a church place there now. They had a place on the corner. And we stopped and she got some cookies and the light came on. Mm-hmm. I said, oh, what a great idea. And so that year, in fact, Fry's had just opened up on the north side. And we were into Fry's and came by. And they were out there and I asked the leader there, I said, when's the last day? She said, today's the last day. Mm-hmm. And I said, oh, so I gave her my card. I said, whatever you have left over, call me, I'll buy it.
Oh, wow.
And I didn't hear from her, so I figured it sold out. So a week later, I get a call and she said, were you serious? And I said, sure. She says, we got a lot left over. I said, well, how many you have left? Oh, we have like 100 boxes. I said, bring them down. And so we started that day. We started that. And from then on, I said, it just blossomed into that. I think I bought 600 boxes last year and handed out. And I tied it in promotions for business. Let's face it, as a business person, you got to think, how can I make this happen? How can I make this happen? So there'd be a tax advantage too, unfortunately. Yeah. So I wrote it down as an inventory item. Mm-hmm. And we actually had it on my computer, back to the computer systems. And every time somebody bought $100, they got a box of cookies. And it was listed right on there, Girl Scout cookie promotion. So that all worked out for me. But that was part of it. There for so many years, like they have a junior livestock auction here every year. And I worked 6 days a week on Saturdays. So after COVID, we quit being open on Saturdays. So I was able to go to the livestock auction. Mm-hmm. And the first year, I'd never been to one. First year, I bought a pig and a calf. And was I surprised what it cost. Yeah. But it was for that youth.
Yeah.
And that's what the Rotary was all about, the youth. So there's so many young kids that work their dogs off to raise those pigs, the cows, the sheep, the chicken, you name it, they're doing it, goats, and they deserve some recognition. And so I bought it, first year bought it, and I actually, when I buy stuff like that, I give it to a bunch to my church so that they have breakfast and all. The Seeds of Hope is part of what we help sponsor. And they have luncheons every day, which is part of our community. And it's been there a long time. All the churches are involved. But we have a breakfast every once a month, and I donate all the sausage. and sausage and gravy and biscuits and all. And it helps our building fund at our church. So it's a wonderful deal to do. So, but it's also, I got to draw that from going to the livestock auction. And you see these kids, you go to the FFA banquets, and these are leaders of the future.
Mm-hmm.
They're just not, they understand what it costs to to raise that calf. They know what the feed is. They know what it's going to take to break even. I mean, not many kids come out of school with a budget idea.
Yeah.
So you support them that way. It gives them encouragement to keep doing that. And that gives them into careers. And it can get them back into the farming business, or back into the automobile business, and build their own businesses. And with everything going on, anything you can encourage them with that is the best thing we can do as a community. And it doesn't cost anything to get back. It doesn't cost a dime to come back. Yeah, well, people say, well, you paid for this. The cost was minimal. And there's people that get to go to livestock auction. There's 5 or 6 people buy one cow. And a cow can cost $10,000, $12,000. But if you split that between 5 families and you get to split the meat, hey, you've got food for a year. So that's part of the community that you people tend to say, oh, it costs so much. But, there's so many people that it'd be so much better for the community if everybody just said, oh, quit complaining, let's go out and do this. And it works out well. And give it away.
Mm-hmm.
Give it away. It makes you feel good. It's like you give a guy money on a corner that helps you, but if you give it to a child that's trying to grow, that's going to be developed. In the Bible it says, you sow what we reap, but we sow, but we may not ever see what we reap. So you sow that seed today, and somebody else is going to reap that reward down the road. So why not start today? And if you, because let's face it, kids don't understand adults anyway. We don't understand kids.
Yeah.
So, but if they can, at one time, 5 years down the road, I remember somebody did that for me. And in my industry, I remember we used to have a gumball machine, and we'd always have to put a penny in the gumball machine for if the kids came in, they'd get a gumball. And when I first started, we did that. And about 2 years later, a young boy came into the store and said, you know why I'm here? I said, why? Well, my dad was in here, and you had a free gumball. Who would have thought? Mm-hmm. Who would have thought a gumball would bring somebody back to do business with you? Yeah. So it's those little things you don't think are important that turn out to be very important. Yeah. And so helping my little bit that I help in the community there's been people that give so much more that don't ever get the recognition they need to. And years ago, I was Business Person of the Year, and I think the paper actually put it, the one thing that I really thought I'm just a one person, there's so many more of them that give so much. And we forget about those. I just happen to be the one that got recognized because, honestly, it was because of who I knew a lot of places, what I've been doing. I wasn't a wildflower. I was going to do this, and I don't participate in a lot of the things. I don't go to the chamber stuff all the time. I don't go to that, but I see people. I see them in the grocery. I like to go to the grocery store and say hello to somebody that I know. I like to sit at a restaurant and see somebody. I was at Ricardo's, me and go to Ricardo's, which is a great icon in this community, Robert. And one day two ladies were in front of me and my wife, and they said, why don't you buy me lunch? And I said, okay.
Oh, wow.
And they didn't think I was going to do that.
Yeah.
But I paid for their lunch, and they didn't know who I was.
Yeah.
But the people at Ricardo's knew who I was. They said, what? And they came in and thanked me. It was just a random deal you could do. So, and sometimes we forget about that. Somebody brags about this, but that was just these two old ladies. I say old ladies. I'm an old guy now, but they were probably 30 years older than I was back then. But to them, that meant all the things in the world.
Yeah. And
it was just somebody listened to me. Yeah. And so that's part of giving back to the community that a lot of us forget the little small things. I read in a Cash Grand Chat the other day about a man that had seen a woman at the local Walmart. She's walking all over, she's trying to find her car. she didn't know where it was.
Mm-hmm.
And we get older, we forget.
Yeah.
So he was able to find her car, help her with her groceries, and get her going. And she said an angel comes by and protects her all the time.
Yeah.
Those are the little angels that we have to be.
Yeah.
And we need to be observant. Because there's people that are confused that they're not bad. They're not scary. It's just they're confused. They need help. And just a kind word sometimes all that they need. And so that's part of what giving back is all about in a community. It's not about me. It's about you and about the community. It's about what we have coming in our lives. So in reality, it becomes better for us. I'm getting older. I'm not, there was a movie years ago called Beau Geste. It was a comedy. And I always remember it because it must have been when I was in my teens when I saw this one. And one of the two brothers, they were both the French Foreign Legion. And Marty Feldman, I don't know if anyone knows, he had those funny eyes that went all over. And then a popular guy, a beautiful boy, young man. But they were twin brothers. And that's how comedy was. But they run into each other and they would always say, well, how's Dad doing? He said, he's alive and dying. And Dad was playing around doing all this stuff, but he was alive. And think about it: the day you're born, you're set to die. Yeah. So in that you have all that space in between to make a difference. And so let's hope that when you're early years, when you're taken, you can start being a giver at the later years. And that's really what I want to be like. So.
Dallas, wow, I want to recognize you. You have an incredible story, and it was such a joy to have you on. Thank you so much for being here.
I could talk longer if you want.
Thank you.
Oh, my pleasure, and I love this community. I always will. And if people have asked me if I'm going to leave, and no, I'm not going to leave. This is my home, so, and I'm going to promote it everywhere I go. People say, you're from Casa Grande? I said, yeah, we're in the best spot in the world. We're where two interstate meet. We're close to two major airports. We can be anywhere in the United States in 4 hours. And, where else can you can drive the ocean in 5 hours. You can be in the mountains in 3 hours. What's not wonderful about this community? So
That's beautiful.
all right.
Thank you so
My
much.
pleasure.
You were
Thank
a
you.
joy.